All right. Excuse me. It says we are live. I hope we are live. I think we are live. Let's get the chat pulled up here and have ourselves awesome live stream discussion. So welcome everybody coming in. I appreciate you all being here tonight. And for those that will catch the replay afterwards, I also really appreciate you, as it definitely helps out the channel. And I hope that things we talk about still give you something to listen to. I know personally, I don't catch all the live streams that I want to, but they make awesome, like almost podcast content when I'm driving or just need something in the background. So again, very grateful to have everybody here. How's everybody doing? Hope things are going well for you. I got here early again tonight, so I was chatting with people as best I could, answering questions, just talking, fish general all around here. But we got a good crew here tonight. Appreciate everybody again. I know Blake Adams was asking, what is the bottle phone looking thing on the new members icon? All of you have advanced to the energy drink. That's right. I think what did we start with? I know Rice Fish, hang on, I can think what they were. Rice Fish was one of them. I think it was something Rice Fish, now your energy drinks. So it's like your third month of being a member, so I really, truly appreciate that very much. But we got M hanging in the house. Daryl Dimer's here. Crown Tell Half Moon's coming in. Leo's here. We got the other Tiffany. Braden Trevort's hanging out with us. Black Little Carling. Who am I missing here? Savannah M's coming in, who's learning the ways of Titan class. And anybody who's played Destiny, you know what I'm talking about. Couldn't help myself on that one. Carrie Habercorn's joining us. Sharon Miller's in the house. Misfit Reptiles and Aquatics is joining in. And Can't Train, the very last one coming in here. I appreciate you all being here. Misfit, I am curious if you've had any success with your obligatons yet. So I still have my pair. I've been playing with them around, though, and I keep finding out that they're not as popular in my area. So I'm curious to see if you've had any success with them and what your kind of take on them there. Skippity Skeep Sheep. Hang on here. Skippity Skeep Skeep. Thank you for being here. That's an awesome name. What up, Trent? I'm good, man. I'm good. I really appreciate you being here. Skippity. Hang on here. Skippity Skeep Skeep. That's gonna be a fun one to say. That's gonna be a fun one. Energy drink. And here I thought it was a USB Nano air pump. The other Tiffany, we can definitely call it the USB Nano air pump by all means. It's probably a little better. But it's definitely one that I'm usually have like an energy drink with me. We're hanging the red Solo cup tonight again. Just water for me tonight. I got to go back to work in the morning. I've had an awesome 4-day weekend off, hanging out with the family. It's kind of a really chill weekend for me, actually. Things are happening. We're okay. We were this close to being able to talk about it. Now we're like this close to being able to talk about it. I got a message. Well, I got an email today that is taking things one step closer to where I can actually talk about it. Yes, we're so close. I'm hoping by the end of the year, if not like the beginning of the year. I know that's terrible of me to keep teasing this long, but when you got big things cooking, you just gotta take some time to cook. Well, we're getting there. We are getting there. First email came in today, and things are happening. So very excited to see what we got going on there. But Savannah says, I just keep hearing something's happening. No idea what it is yet, though. So yeah, her husband is waiting on the new Destiny update. I may jump into it myself and not entirely sure. Kind of falling off that train a little bit. But Catch Train, I have a mystery fry, my 300-gallon, almost big enough to move to a 20-gallon with rice fish to let it grow out. Very curious to what that ends up being, because it's have fun wrangling that fry out of a 300-gallon tank. That's going to be something definitely running around there. But before we get started here, I know the holidays are coming up, and you're going to hear me kind of, I don't want to say beating the dead horse, but I will say that my wife worked extremely hard on these. But if you need that kind of cool keepsake or just something knick-knacky to give the loved one in your life that is a fish keeper, we still have our official Well-Done Tanks mugs. So we have, on the front side of it's going to be the Well-Done Tanks logo. On the back side of it is the best quote of all times: "Our dreams are only an extended reality." So we have, I want to say 5 or 6 of these ready to ship, ready to go, $25. My wife has been kind enough to even include, we have stickers inside of them. She gives you like a handwritten note, everything there. If you were interested in them, you can send me a DM through Instagram or even email me at Wel-Don@gmail.com. So those are available and ready to go. We got here Carrie Havercorn coming in with the $2.99 super chat. Thank you so much for the fist bump, my friend. I appreciate it very much. I hope that Walther is still doing good for you. I still constantly think about that trip and reminisce on that. Just incredible, like 7 days I had of just intense fish keeping and what came of that. And that was an awesome trip, and I was very pleased to meet you. And I really do hope Walter's doing good for you. But Misfit Reptiles, well, let's see. The male is sure constantly trying, and I mean constantly, be the 3 females I have for him just won't give it up, but they've been starting to seem more interested in him. So we're talking about some obliquidans. I think it's the zebra obliquidans. Misfit Reptile asked about them in, I think it was the live stream. I was coming back from Reno, actually, the I-80 Power Play, and I ended up buying a pair. I think they're beautiful fish. I absolutely think they're gorgeous fish, especially the male when they throw these like rainbow colorations across their zebra stripes. I just come to find out that they're not as popular in my area as I thought they would be. So I'm definitely curious to see how they go. I'm still trying to breed my pair out. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. Let's see here. Spoiler alert from M. Trent is leasing out a warehouse to expand his breeding operations. Man, wouldn't that be something? And if I was doing well enough and selling fish and cranking out here on the tubes, you better believe I'd be grabbing me a warehouse and building a massive breeding operation. That would be awesome. That would be intense. How would I do that, actually? Could I do that? You got me thinking now, Em. You got me thinking now. I did some calculations. Like, this is actually the first time I actually sat down and calculated the square footage of my fish room. And it's not hard. I mean, it's 7 by 8 feet, right? So it's not hard. But 56 square feet. 56 square feet is the size of my fish room of what I'm working with. I have less tank. I still need to do that update. So I have less tanks in there now, but I feel like I have better like quality of tanks and better availability on what fish I want to keep, fish I want to breed, that kind of a thing. But it was definitely different when I really kind of sat down there and went, this is 56 square feet. And, what really started that mindset was, if you haven't watched Wild Fish Tank's latest video, he did an awesome job of 5 tips on becoming a master fish breeder. And he talked about having passion for your fish, like what you want to breed. And it kind of got me thinking of like, I'm in a 56 square foot fish room, and I'm hopefully going to start cranking out some beautiful fish here. So the members have kind of got the members did get a full update what we got going on in there, all the pairs we have. I did follow your advice, and I moved that tank that I had a random 20-gallon tank kind of shoved in on the floor. Ended up moving things around. We took moved some fish out of the fish room. So I don't have as many species necessarily, but I still feel like I have. So instead of having every fish I could possibly keep, I really went and focused in on what fish I want to breed. Like what fish catch my attention right now? What fish am I excited about? And then I left some tanks open for grow outs. I guess the hardest thing right there is you breed these fish, you get a ton of fry, then what do you do with them, right? Like in my case, I want to move them out to their own separate tank so I can monitor them, feed them, separate them, sex them, grow them out. But that's a whole kind of the video I want to make. I have so many video ideas I need to do. I'm hopefully going to start editing tonight for Friday's video, which I'm really excited about. I really am excited about this one. The latest one was awesome. I was very excited about doing the Brian Shrimp video. So if you have not checked that one out, I highly recommend you do so. I'm a little biased on it, but it was a good one. It was absolutely a good one. Hey, Wel-Don, you ready for Thanksgiving? I am. I'm actually not working Thanksgiving this year, shockingly. I think it's like the second time in 5 years, but I do have to work Christmas this year, so we're going to see where that takes us. So I think my Christmas is going to be on like Christmas Eve, so I can actually enjoy it with my family. But I enjoy Thanksgiving. I hope it's still around. I know in Utah, the governor just kind of put a new emergency order out, and my wife is really concerned that my family is not going to do Thanksgiving. She really enjoys getting together with family for the holidays, but we'll see what happens there. And then Black Label Carling, I think that was you. if I'm correct, I think it's going to match up to the name. Somebody just sent me an order for the mugs. Thank you so much. That's very generous of you. I'm pretty sure it was you. And I get orders, and I always try and put the name with the username I see on YouTube. I kind of like, it's like a fun game I like to play with myself, but I also definitely want to kind of keep up with all of you guys and what you're doing. And it's very fun to see all of you here. Like I talk about, I always try and pay attention who we got here because you guys are the ones that make all of this possible. All of it possible. I'm very, very grateful for that. Catch a train. So the 300-gallon has a Vegas 1 Millerai, beautiful fish, red hooks, orange laser cories, and hillstream loaches. It's definitely not a geophagus or hillstream loach, probably a cory, but possibly a red hook. I think by now you'd be able to tell if it was a cory, but that's a beautiful tank there, my friend. Red hooks are silver dollars in general, I think, are kind of underrated. They're beautiful fish. I love watching big schools of fish swim around, and like the silver dollars. Those red hooks are awesome, and those geophagus, that's a beautiful fish right there, my friend. Lab snails coming in. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Lab, I've really enjoyed your latest Snello video. I enjoy watching you do those. So Lab's done a really good job. If you guys don't know, she now officially has a YouTube channel, and she also is still like the queen of Instagram, in my opinion, on her snails and all that. Absolutely awesome. She does a lot of awesome, simple tutorials on how to everything snail related. And her Snello ones are by far just incredibly well done. If you don't know what Snello is, it's going to be, think of it as like a Repashy type food for specifically for snails, right? It's going to just gut load these snails, but not necessarily, but it's going to give them all the nutrients and calcium they're after. Really good food right there. Really, really good food to have there. Crown Tail Half Moon. Hiya, Trent. If possible, can you do a comparison of using both, baby brine shrimp eggs, branched by feeding two sibling fishes in separated tanks? I'm curious about growing, fry, and using both. Appreciated this video. So from what let me break that down here. So what Crown Tail's asking me to do is set up 2 tanks, hatch out brine shrimp direct eggs, and hatch out the aquarium co-op eggs, and then feed those eggs to each set tank to see which fish grows faster. So Crown Tail, here's my opinion on that. And I honestly don't think that one brand will make another fish grow faster. I think it's going to give you the same nutritional value. The biggest difference of these brand of eggs is the separation factor. Hatch rate is phenomenal on both of these. I hope I showed that in the video. Like I'm a little biased right now. I'm not gonna lie. Aquarium co-op, I will pay the extra money for the aquarium co-op eggs. Actually got some right here. These were awesome. The hatch rate on these were awesome, but the biggest thing is the separation factor, where when they hatch in the unhatched eggs and the shells float to the top, versus where all the brine shrimp direct ones, some of them go to the top, not all of them. So, but on the actual nutritional value side, I don't think you'll see a difference in feeding like aquarium co-op eggs versus brine shrimp direct eggs versus, I think it's like San Francisco Bay. I think they have their own. So it's nutritional wise, I don't think you're going to see a major difference, but the test would be fun to do. It can be difficult to set up just based on size, pulling the same size fish, feeding them the same amount. Like it's easier to do on a basis of like Guppy Guru did one on his fry foods, right? It's easy to feed like a set amount of flake food or powder food, pellets, that kind of things. You can measure it out. I mean, I guess technically I could measure out like a weight of brine shrimp to feed it out. So it's an interesting idea, but I just don't think you're going to see a different result by any means. And I say that because there's people in my area, especially since we have the Utah Fancy Guppy Association, they've been feeding the brine shrimp direct eggs for years. I mean, we're talking 30, 20 plus years. So they've been around for a long time. They've been feeding this for a very long time. And I know that they're really into the brine shrimp direct eggs because they're a local company to us. So it was a big thing there. But I know that's like the biggest argument I see on the aquarium co-op eggs is going to be the price of these, but what people don't realize is the aquarium co-op was smart, and they put a size out of 3.5 ounces that most everybody's going to be able to use versus having your choice of like a tiny jar or an 8-ounce jar or a big can that most people aren't going to use. So I hope that answers your question. I will keep that in the back of my head on a potential experiment to do with it, because that would be interesting to do. We'll see though. That's going to take up space and time, but that's, you know me, I always like a good experiment. Casper Aquatics, good to see you here. I haven't seen you here for a while. Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. It's like Black Little Carling's got some clutches of eggs coming through here. Where am I at here? Daryl Dahmer dropping the $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Daryl. I really appreciate that. Just dropping money to say hello. Thank you, my friend. Trust me, that will go to good use. We've got some things we're working on in the fish room kind of a thing, but anytime you got like any money made from YouTube, I promise you comes back to the channel in one way or another. And I'm actually potentially going to start bidding. Oh, well, I did start bidding on some fish on Aquabid. After some green dragons, the green dragon bristle nose. You guys will not believe this. So this guy's kind of smart. Starts his auction out for a pair at $1. Right now, that pair is $157. That is the highest bid right now. I backed out at like $80, but $157 that thing is up right now, and it's nuts, absolutely nuts. It's just, for whatever reason, like green dragons just blew up to like leopard frog prices and all these different things. For whatever reason, green dragons are the hot craze right now. It's intense. Braden, don't give up, man. You gotta. So YouTube is an interesting thing. So I won't lie. Right now, like I even look at other channels and I go, man, I wish I had as many subscribers as they do. But you got to put the work in for it. I mean, I spend anywhere from just YouTube 10+ hours a week. That's on top of my full-time job. That's on top of fishing. That's on top of family. So it's a grind, but you're young. You got some good ideas. If this is something you want to do, don't give up on it. There's a learning process. I've learned a lot on the back end on, tagging my videos, titling my videos. So it's a grind, man, but don't give up yet. You're young. You got you got a lot of time you can put into this before you really need to feel like you're burnt out. But I understand the grind. I mean, this has been, come February, it'll be 4 years for me. So don't give up. You can do it. I'm still waiting for the Lab Snail Sales bedtime stories. I must have missed something, but I like it. That would be a fun book to read there. That would be a fun book to read there. Look here, Catch Train. Well, then, Tank, since you like to nerd out on stuff, have you gone down the Dr. Kevin Novak J's Aquarium rabbit hole on YouTube? Kind of. I know who you're talking about, and I've kind of stepped into some of those. A lot of those, because you're right, I really do like to nerd out on stuff, and I grab some of those things, and I go down those rabbit holes. So I've stepped into it a little bit, and I kind of pulled myself out because I knew that when I start, that's going to be like a dedicated weekend of listening to these things. I really need a good road trip again to like pull that stuff out where I can just listen to it, think about it, hear it. So I know who he is, and I want to do more of it. I just haven't yet. I've been very busy with everything going on here, but trust me, I am. Now that you say it again, I'm coming back to it. Because you're right, that is definitely gonna be something to nerd out on. Looks like you got Brian P in here lurking around with us. Thanks for joining. 20 people hanging out here, and make sure to hit that like button. Angel F coming in. Good to see you. Let's see. Yeah, Braden, thanks for coming here. Make sure to catch the replay. I really appreciate you. Really do like to see you guys here. I think I just missed a question about multis. Did I miss a question about multis? Casper Aquatics, I'm sorry. What do you feed your multis? I'm just about ready to start the tank up. So I might have taken anything from small pellet food, flake food, live baby brine shrimp. So there's nothing intense that I feed them. When I notice frying the tank, I will start using things like Sarah Micron, the Aquarium Co-op fry food, really crush up some flake food, something to give those tiny little mouths something to munch on. But on that, all of them have chased any flake food I put in, any pellet food I've put in. I wouldn't go anything large in the pellet size, just kind of my experience, what I've seen. But they've all been good there. All right. Ems, are there any plants you like that don't work for you? Yes. It's oh my gosh. Why did I just forget Java fern? Man, that was intense. I just forgot that. Yeah, so Java fern, I think, are beautiful. And I love them when they get huge in a tank. And some people just have the best. I've seen some massive Java ferns, and I've even tried it in a tank with CO2 before, like planted in the substrate, enriched substrate. All of that will not grow for me. I cannot do it. I have one down in the fish room right now that Aquarium Co-op sent me as part of the brand ambassador program with their new easy planter. So I've got it in a tank. It seems to be doing all right, but for whatever reason, like I've used highlight, low light, different kinds of lights, all the things, root tabs, water column fertilizer. I cannot get Java ferns to grow to save my life. Now, what I can do with them is I can propagate a bunch of them because they start propagating when they're like they're stressed, they're about to die, so they throw up the little babies on the leaves. I propagate them plenty of times because they're dying in my tanks. But yeah, I mean, I've got one in my snail tank right now, actually, that my snail is from Lav, and it will not grow. It's hanging on for life, but it's not flourishing. I would say that much there. So like I said, I even tried them in substrate. Like they hang on for life, but they do not flourish. But now you give me something like an Anubias, I can grow Anubias all day long. Jungle Val, that thing is going gangbuster in my my mouth brooder tank. And then getting things like the Pogo Stamon Stellatus Octopus. And I mean, back in my old 125 gallon Fahaka puffer tank, I was growing that thing like 4 inches a day. I could really crush that out. But yeah, Java fern, I think they're amazing plants that I just cannot get them to grow to save my life. It's a good thing it's a good thing it's not dependent on my life. Let's put it that way too. Crown till half moon, appreciate advice, sir. Yes and no, you love experimenting, hence I asked the brand challenge. Maybe you can test it on Newborn Guppy Fry, maybe 1 month growth test using both. Guppy Guru has. So here's the hard part about that, Crown Tell, is I no longer have guppies in the fish room. Shocking. I know that's crazy, but I no longer have guppies in the fish room. So yeah, I like Guppy Guru's test. I think it was a great option. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I do like to experiment with things. So I may have to do something in the background here to kind of see what we got going on there. Lab has the most soothing voice. Have I heard her voice? I got to think about that. I don't know if I've heard her voice now. I may have to go dig through the Lav archives to find out what I'm looking for. Try adding some extra potassium to the tank. Sometimes jump for like extra potassium. Yeah, where am I going to get extra potassium though? That's the hard part, is like you're talking to a guy that is willing to put as much time into a tank as possibly necessary, like as need to. But it's also you're talking to a guy that, like, if I have to add 7 different things to a tank to make it work, I'm out. And that's also why on the saltwater tank, which is a little algae covered right now, we're making it look, we're getting there. It's going to look a little better. And I'm debating on playing with camera angles too, to kind of give a different viewpoint of the room. But this is first water change today. And if we go back to the video where I did of our, saltwater tanks, difficult kind of that thing, I finally decided the hardest thing about saltwater is actually mixing the water, right? So I had built my own mixing station. I'm dedicated to this, but I don't foresee me having a reef tank long term. Now, what do I mean by long term? 1 to 2 years. I think I'm going to play with this tank 1 to 2 years, grow some coral in it, have some fun with it, show it on YouTube, teach everybody about it, and enjoy it. But we'll see if in the future, we'll see if that tank comes with me. We'll see. 'Cause I do like it. I love it, actually. I love it, actually, right? It's something new. It's something fun to look at. And everybody thinks that because you keep fish, you do saltwater. It's like what everybody knows about. But it's definitely the hardest part about it is mixing up saltwater, versus the 90-gallon tank. There we go. Doing water change on that, super simple. I hook up the Python, run it to the bathroom, drain it, fill it back up, right? There's nothing crazy I have to do with it. So we'll definitely see what we got going on there. But we're Where did I come from? Potassium question. That's right. But you, sir, you've got some knowledge on some things that I think, I could learn so many things from you because I watch you chat with people in the chat and giving your advice to things. I mean, you've got some exquisite knowledge that I don't even know about. So you've got some awesome things going on there. Lab's hiding in her snail tank. Do we need to put some snail in there to entice you back out? That's awesome. I realize you don't have any guppies. I was highlight Guppy Guru has some awesome guppies and fry. Maybe a fishing expedition when he's not around. I do know how to break into his guppy garage. That's definitely true. I can go snag what I want to. He's got some new awesome imports he just brought in too that I could probably go get my hands on. But yeah, so my guppies are out of my fishing, but they're not gone. I don't know if that makes sense. You will, how do I say here? This is we're entering territory I can't talk about yet. You will see my guppies that I had again. Let's put it that way. You will see them. Yes. Okay. I think so. Got a question on substitute for profit. Substitute. I thought I said substrate. Can you use? Maybe it is substrate. Can you use potting soil capped with sand as growth medium for individual cups, pots, valves, stem, and root tabs? So yes, it's basically you're just creating a dirted tank. So I did a dirted tank back in my original fish room kind of fish area I had. It would be, so the hardest thing with it is it's dirty, it's messy. Now, potting soil, I've done the organic potting soil. I capped it with sand. I've done that. It grows plants really well because it's a super enriched soil. It's really cheap. The hard part is when you move a plant out of it. Like I had a crypt in there that was just growing up half the tank, and I moved it, and it blows a cloud of dust just everywhere. So your cap no longer becomes a cap. That's the hardest part about it. So if you were going to do that on, let's say, your root feeders, I would find some stem plants. So to propagate them, you don't have to move the entire thing. I would do something like Pocostemon, Scarlet Temple, Bacopa, Moneywort. Find those stem plants that really want the nutrients from the roots, but things that you can just clip, replant, and that's you've now propagated that plant. I was looking at doing plants for profit down in my fish room currently. And then hopefully what replaced it, I think is going to be the video this Friday. So I was looking at doing it. I actually had the CO2 regulator in. I had the substrate I was going to use. I had everything to do it. And then it just kind of came down to that was one more thing I really didn't want to focus on necessarily. There was one more thing I didn't want to get too involved in. And then I looped back around to would I really find the time to propagate these plants. So I moved it over to a different system, brought more fish into the fish room, things I really want to work with. Let's see what we got going on there. But yeah, it is possible. The valve would be hard because you want to clip it when they're sending runners. I mean, yes, but there's ways to do that. There's definitely ways to do that. Sounds like Black Level Carling may be attempting this brine shrimp experiment. I'm curious to see what you find out if you do it. It would definitely be interesting. Would there really be that much of a nutritional value? That would be interesting to see if there really is a difference in nutritional value based on both of them. I can't imagine that there is, but you've definitely piqued my interest, though. Yeah, Black Level Carling, I think you're right there. It's not the most accurate sense, and that's where I guess I'm hesitant to do this test. And like any testing of what's going to grow fish, faster, different things, it's so difficult without like crazy lab grade stuff. I think just based on there are a lot of different variables to it. One I can say is like the more water you change, I think the faster your fry are going to grow. It's just kind of one of those things of clean water, fish grow faster. Good food, fish grow faster, right? Like there's definitely some proteins and stuff involved in there. So it would be interesting to try. Definitely would be interesting to try. To see what we can do with it there. That's Black Label. I hope you take on it, and if you need some help, let me know. Definitely definitely do I'm curious to see what you come up with it. What's that? Is that 2 orders for mugs? You guys are awesome. I think that's 2 orders that just came through. One from, I'm pretty sure it's Black Label. What we got here? You guys are awesome. I really do appreciate that. My wife's going to appreciate that. So that was her way of contributing to the Wel-Don Tanks YouTube channel here, was making these mugs. So I will definitely get these packaged up as soon as possible, get them shipped out to you. But again, I really appreciate that, guys. That's very nice of you. Again, that money goes towards... That money is going to go toward, helping my wife with her projects and just kind of remaking these mugs. So very kind of you to support the channel that way. I really do appreciate that. But all right, what else we got going on? So yeah, if any questions, drop them in the chat. We've been talking brine shrimp here. I know we'll have some people catching replays. Really appreciate that. Kind of came into this one again with no set topic. I'm working on, I want to start coming in with set topics. What's hard though is I come up with these topics and I think to myself, like, that would make a great video. But I also think there's nothing wrong with doing, a good live stream, chatting, getting some ideas and moving over to a video. But I got a list of video ideas I need to come put together. One of them I really want to do, talking brine shrimp here, is after the comments I got on the video and I started talking with Lewis about the video, his thoughts on it, kind of what he thought I could do better in that video, the filming, the editing, everything, was one of the kind of comments I got was brine shrimp is pushed so much to only being used to breed fish that, we hear, you see these fish room tours, Master Breeder Dean, Aquarium Co-op, mine, Guppy Guru, Bay Area Aquatics, and then you get into, fish room tours that like LR Brett's has done, that, Flip Aquatics has done. Like, there's so many fish room tours across YouTube that have been done. And one of the main things you're going to hear of, like, what do you feed your newly hatched fry? Well, baby brine shrimp. So it's so focused on breeders, by this hatchery, it's a 2-liter hatchery, you're going to hatch this much brine shrimp. So then you get these comments. I see these comments too of people say, like, I only have 2, maybe 3 tanks. I don't need to hatch that much brine shrimp. So Q, where I think Aquarium Co-op did something right on how they seal this can. So it's an aluminum seal here. It's crazy to get off. But I will say, like, it's sealed up very well. Now, after the seal, there's another seal, right? So there's this seal. Then inside of this can is the brine shrimp that's actually sealed into a bag. So where am I going with this? These 2 to 3 tanks, I still think they're very useful to do baby brine shrimp, but people are afraid, are they going to use this entire can before it goes bad? So now I think you're going to see that, this can's smaller. You can use more of it, in a better period of time before it goes bad. You could potentially use all of it. But it got me thinking, though, of so many people, they just push baby brine shrimp for breeding, baby brine shrimp for breeding. Why not push of, like, okay, you want to keep some scarlet batis? Like, have you thought about hatching live baby brine shrimp to feed your scarlet batis? You want to keep pipefish? Have you thought about hatching baby brine shrimp for pipefish? And this goes to both fresh and saltwater. There's species that need live foods to really thrive, and there's nothing, in my opinion. And now they're going to give me their opinion back, and like Daphne's easier, and microworms are easier, but for a consistency basis, brine shrimp to me is like the easiest live food for consistency. Then I also want to see too that I've seen people do it where they hatch baby brine shrimp. If they don't feed all of it, then they freeze the baby brine shrimp in little cubes, ice trays. So now you've created your own frozen food to feed at a later time. So all these things I want to do. I really want to do a video highlighting different things that you can use baby brine shrimp for. And then it's also hatchers. I've done the review on the disc hatcher. I've done the review on the Zis hatcher. And I really think if you can get your hand, like even I need to do a video too on like the DIY version using a water bottle to hatch brine shrimp, especially with the co-op eggs where they separate out so easy. So it's all these things for a really cheap startup cost. I think more people can do brine shrimp and have really good success with it, and expand their knowledge, expand their just working information, just something in the hobby, but too many people are afraid to do it because we who are insane and have fish rooms and feed out pounds of this weekly, monthly, whatever it's going to be, we've done a terrible job of all we have pushed is I hatch baby brine shrimp for fry production. I feed baby brine shrimp to grow fry out, to raise fry, to get parents, adult fish interested in breeding because they know there's food for fry, that kind of a thing. Instead of talking about uses of you want to set up a really cool scarlet bass tank, but you've heard they need live food instead of baby brine shrimp. So there's all these different things here. And then black-liped carling, black-liped carling. Everyone can get baby brine shrimp. Not everyone can get worm cultures and other live foods. And that's a very accurate point. I've been able to, I can get live cultures of food like the micro worms. Getting Daphnia, I can get, but how many times do we hear that Daphnia cultures crashed? Like it's, I had micro worms, keyword had, and I let my cultures crash. So it was a difficult one there of like, baby brine shrimps is so dependable because you are the one that sets it up. You are the one that does it and takes care of that. Let's see. I've had white worms and vinegar eels, but fish don't get excited about them as much as brine shrimp. Yeah, vinegar eels is one I've never tried. So it's on the bucket list if I'm going to try it. But I think too, it's just brine shrimp's just so dependable on how it can get set up there. Yeah, black-liped carling. All my fish get baby brine shrimp. Yeah, it's easy live food, and I haven't met a fish that won't eat it. That's true. That is true. All right, catch train here. My rice fish, 2 female, 2 male. Okay, constantly have eggs attached to them. I've had them for at least a year now, but I haven't seen a single fry in a densely planted tank. What's going on? I think you and Em have been talking about it here. So part of it is those fry when they hatch out are tiny, tiny, tiny. So definitely. When I was working, I still am working with one strain of rice fish right now. Look at the corners of the tank. So when I was hatching out the Javanese rice fish, I would find the fry up in the corners of the tank, like where they could run and hide to. They were just tiny, tiny up in there in the corners. I noticed a lot of floating plants helped, but the densely planted sounds like it should help there. My recommendation is get some tiny food in there. Sarah Micron works really well for me. What is it? San Francisco Bay? Is it the freeze-dried Cyclops they have now? Something that's going to really float on the surface of the water. So part of it is the adults may be eating them, but the also part of it is there may not be food for those tiny, tiny fry. Now, in a densely planted tank, I assume there's going to be some microfauna. Brain can't think. I know what it is. You use it to hatch out gouramis. Jeez, we'll stick with microfauna. maybe I'm thinking the same thing. But there's going to be some food, but I think if you can supplement it with something that's going to float on the surface of the water for those little fry to pick at, I think you'll see better opportunities there. And I've had the best success with them when they were in a species only tank. I know when I added like swordtails, I think that tank for a holding period of like a week, the fry production went down significantly. But I think so I would try that. All right. Not everyone has access to live worm cultures. That's true. So Crown Tail's saying there, not everyone has access to live worm cultures. That's definitely true. So let's see. There is a thriving scud colony. I feed golden pearls every 2 to 3 days. So in theory, yes, I do see occasional eggs attached to duckweed. Okay, there you go. I got you there. So talking about your rice fish. So it sounds like you got a good food supply for the fry. I just know they're so small. They're so finicky. All right. How does Aquarium Co-op recommend storing the open BBS green tin, fridge, room temp? How long can eggs be kept for? So the true recommendation is going to be in a fridge. That's the main recommendation from all manufacturers of brine shrimp. I think they're gonna say they're gonna last longer in a fridge. Up until 2 weeks ago, I had, after opening this and removing the second seal and actually unsealing the bag, I was keeping this tin at room temperature of my fish room, which is 80 degrees. So up until 2 weeks ago, I now have like a little mini fridge. The mini fridges that are used to hold like 6 cans of, Coke or something. It fits 2 of these perfectly, or 1 8-ounce Brine Strip Direct and one of these perfectly, that kind of a thing. So it's the design of the Aquarian Co-op one is that most people will not put it in the fridge. Now let me expound on that a little bit. You come to your significant other and you say, "Hey, honey, I'm going to put these in the fridge." Well, what are they? "Oh, don't worry about it. It's just a live food I feed my fish." Doesn't go very well. I've been there. I've done that. Like, I used to keep mice in the freezer, for my snakes and stuff, and it doesn't go very well. So this is another thing I really do like about the Aquarian Co-op eggs versus the Brine Strip eggs, is that Corey did a lot of research into how are these eggs going to last longer for hobbyists, which will in turn allow them to use the entire product that they paid for. So that's why there's all these seals on there. The ultimate goal is to keep moisture out of the bag of the brine shrimp. Every time you open that bag, you pull some eggs out, you hatch it, you seal that bag, moisture is going to get in. That's inevitable. Now, by keeping it in the fridge, it's just going to keep that moisture more at bay, so that it's not going to act on as fast. Now, if you bought like a big can, my recommendation is pull out like a 2-week supply and then put that can in the freezer for long-term storage. But something of this, where it's like, now that I have the little fridge in my fish room, I don't know if I haven't noticed a hatch rate difference by any means, but what I was doing is, it was just out in my fish room, and because I wasn't going to have that argument with my wife about putting stuff in the fridge for fish. I don't cross that line anymore. I've done that. So how long can they be kept for? I don't know yet. I know that Corey has referenced that Dean had a package open in his fish room and was hatching from it to see, kind of testing how long, that would be like, okay, you can leave this open in your fish room around moisture for X amount of time. I have not heard that answer back yet, but I do know that from experience of leaving the Brine Strip Direct eggs out in the fish room, theirs is at the twist top seal. I was having issues with the hatch rates. Moisture was getting in the jar, it's affecting the eggs, all that kind of a thing. So, but having numerous seals, even though every time you open that bag, moisture gets in, it still helps stop the moisture from spreading. So yes, best fridge, long-term freezer. But even with this size, this is why he did it, was smart this way. This size is set up to be used in a time frame that you don't have to keep this in the freezer. But yes. There you go. So it's Black Little Carling. She has them in the freezer, and she pulls out a week at a time, so you can kind of gauge how much you're going to use in like that week time frame. Pull them out, keep in the fridge, that kind of a thing, and it's much easier. Or just pull them out into your fish room where you don't have to keep them in there. But definitely something there. And then Catcher Train, thank you. My brain was not catching up. The Infusoria, yes, that was where my mind was going to. I've seen the Girl Talks Fish do a really good video on creating Infusoria. Again, like, it's on my bucket list of things I'm going to do. As you referenced, I really like to nerd out on stuff, and it's one of those things I really want to nerd out on. See what I can keep up there. Botanicals and breeding tanks is a really good idea. So microorganisms start on there, and new babies can eat off of. That's why I have the cholla wood in my zebra pleco tank. Is I like to give something for the little fry to go munch on. Let's see here. Black Little Carling is, let's see here. Is freezer worse? I figure it's drier than the fridge. I wouldn't say it's worse by any means. Because you look at all the people that have kept brine shrimp in the freezer and they never had an issue with it. So by all means, I don't think there's anything wrong with keeping it in the freezer. Just for me, finding that little fridge, like we're talking, it's a mini fridge that's sized to hold like 6 cans of soda. It's awesome. They are awesome. I saw one in Randy, the Aquarius podcast, the operations manager for Aquarium Co-op, when he did his fish room tour and he showed his little fridge, like, I want one of those. So I finally tracked one down. It was like $40 on Amazon. So it's just one of those things that's allowed me to keep everything in one area. So kind of goes back to when I was giving Emma a hard time of like, I don't want to dose potassium because that's one more thing I have to do. I'm kind of a lazy fish keeper. So fortunately, my deep freeze that we have is down in the basement. So my frozen fish food is next to my fish room, kind of. One of the things I really want to do in my next fish room is get a small combo fridge freezer specifically for that fish room. So ever since I put my brine shrimp eggs in a little mini fridge in the fish room, I'm more consistent at hatching them. So that's where it's easier for me to do the fridge, but I wouldn't say, freezer's bad at all there. And Savannah says, definitely took a bit for my husband to be okay with having rats in the freezer for my snake. It's some people think you're crazy, but I get it. Like, yes, when you open that freezer and there's something staring back at you that shouldn't be staring back at you, I completely get it. Black Little Carly, another perk of being single. Nobody questions my microcultures. Ricky Stan's coming in, joining up. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Let's see. I once left some hatched baby brine in a cup in the fridge and forgot about it for at least a month. The parents were not happy about the smell. Yeah, even when I don't clean out my hatchers, just after feeding the brine shrimp every day, like that's a smell. That's definitely a smell there that I would not want to forget about. And going on for a month there. But all right, we're in 46 minutes in. I think we're going to try and go for an hour tonight. It's been having a lot of fun again. I'm happy that I'm back to live streaming. I'm doing this again. So hopefully as things progress, I definitely want to do more like topic-based discussions because it's awesome to see the feedback live, like the chat going. We get some awesome people in there talking, discussing. I get your opinions. You help each other out. I've seen the side conversation. That's one of my favorite things on live streams is it's you all help each other. Like I'm just the guy behind a camera that thinks he knows what he's doing, but you guys start talking amongst yourselves and do some awesome things there. Any advice on growing baby brine shrimp to adults? Feed them green water and good algae stuff. I've never done it. After seeing Corey do his brine shrimp pond again, it's kind of one of those things of like, okay, like I would like to try that. It's interesting, but it's also one of those things of like, that's one more thing I have to keep track of. That's one more thing I have to go do. That's why my next area, I probably won't do a pond. Don't get me wrong. Love my pond. Love having that. It's so chill and just relaxing. But I think I'm going to shoot for more of like small summer tubs, maybe like one small summer tub, that's something that's just intriguing. It's interesting. If I decide to do water change on, it's easy. So advice to grow them, I would check out all the Aquarium Co-op videos you can on growing his from, babies to adults, because they are, when they're happy and when they're full size, I know that they're basically like a live bearing shrimp. But he fed, how was he doing it? He had 3 ponds, 2 rice fish ponds, and in the center was his brine shrimp pond. And one of the ponds had a really good green water going. So he would move some of the green water over to the brine shrimp because they're a filter feeder. So they're going to filter out that green water and do that. And then it's, I'm saying add some spinach leaves. So you need something that's going to decompose down in that so they can filter feed out of the water for it. So it's, again, one of those things I want to nerd out on. I really want to try. I just don't want to do it right now. I don't know how, because I'm curious. Like, it's one of those things of, I'm curious of how it would overwinter. That's why I'm always nervous to do I tried a scud culture. It didn't go well. That's why I want to try like a Daphnia culture. I'm really going to see how long I can keep one of these things going. That's why I don't depend on them. So maybe one of these times I do a brine shrimp. But I do know from being around the Great Salt Lake, it's local to me, that thing stinks. So I can only imagine the smell that's going to come off that pond. So in my mind, it would be a great way to annoy my neighbor with. Set that thing up and waft all the smell over to him. But at the same time, I mean, it's there's no maintenance to it, so that's really like a bad, a poor excuse for me to say that. But it's just part of that. It's like I don't know, I don't still want to maintenance it. I want to go have to collect it, any of that. But it's cool. Like it's one of those things. Like maybe on the bucket list. But I do want to try the infusoria, and I do want to definitely go down the rabbit hole of all the talks there. But all right, what's your opinion on using a power head filter? Okay, hang on here. Power head filter with the built-in UV for treating water. Okay, prior to doing water changes for fryer hatching eggs. Okay, prior to doing water changes with power head. Built-in UV for treating water prior to water changes. Okay, so you're thinking. Okay, so you're talking. I'm guessing you're talking of doing like a storage tank, putting a UV filter on it. So either you're talking of doing a storage tank, putting a UV on it, letting it sit with the UV for a couple of days, then doing a water change, or doing a storage tank, but when you're pulling water from it, you're running it through a UV. So for water storage, okay. The best, so UV, like for example, the 90-gallon tank behind me, the canister filter on it has a built-in UV. Most people think that UV is just this cure-all, where one of the best, if you want some good working knowledge on a UV, and this is going to be crazy, go check out Bulk Reef Supply's YouTube channel. They did a very in-depth look at UV sterilization, to the point of they set up like 6 or 10 20-gallon cube tanks. Grant, I know right now we're kind of stepping over to the saltwater reefing side of things, but this discussion they had on the flow rates of UV, what UV is actually going to treat, that's where you're going to run into it. So you definitely need to check out the flow rate of the UV. Now, my opinion on it, I would also go check out Bay Area Aquatics. If you have not done Bay Area Aquatics, he did the fish room tour. Was it the Hinkles? Something there? Let me see if I can. I'm sure I can find this for you. So he went and did a big fish room tour of a couple in his area and did an awesome job at it. But one of the biggest things they talked about was actually using UV in their breeding tanks. So I know one of the biggest things they had issue with was like Cory eggs. So they put in a home filtering system, that kind of thing. Then what they started noticing was all their eggs started fungusing up. So this is one of the things I want to play with in my fish room. It's using, so in the system the tank that I have all of my egg tumblers in, I've been adding in some methylene blue every time I add in eggs. That's to stop it from fungusing, but I know that methylene blue is going away. I know it's becoming harder to find. I know some companies have altogether stopped making it. So I still think there's a huge, we'll say, stockpile of it somewhere. So I'm not totally concerned about what's available to me right now. But in long term, I really want to buy one of those like $50 UVs that has a power head attached to it and put it in that tank to see if it makes a difference. So that's one of the biggest things he did there. And I'm dropping the link for you, Crown Tell, is that's the video that Michael did with that couple talking UV sterilization, where they noticed a great increase of hatching eggs using fry, that kind of thing, because it is going to take out some of the parasitic stuff on there. So let's see, I saw Michael's videos, the couple had issues hatching eggs. So that's the same link I just dropped for you. I think it will work. I think it will work because one of the issues too in like auto water changes is water sitting in the pipes. Who knows if that's becoming moldy, what's that's doing in there. So I think it's going to work. It just depends. You gotta decide how big of a UV are you going to use. And then you got to remember too, you got to replace those bulbs, and they're only effective for so long. But if you really want, like I say, if you want a good in-depth look at UV sterilization, truly a lab grade test, look up the Bulk Reef Supply channel and what they did on theirs, because that was actually very mind blowing of what they did with that. Malachite green, I've heard that works too. So I'm saying right now I've got a decent stockpile of the methylene blue. So if we're going to keep working on that there. Blake Adams, how is the 90 gallon? Any fish in there now? May have missed you mentioning that earlier. So the 90 gallon is doing awesome. I'm in love with the 90 gallon tank right now. So the biggest change that I think you would have seen, Blake, is that I no longer have the big monster fish in there right now. So the Adonis Pleco, the silver arowana, what else do we have in there? The chubby Pleco, the lungfish, all that was taken back to the shop. That was all, I think it's been sold actually. So right now I have a school of the flametail tetras. It was a missed shipment to the waterfront that he didn't even order. And they were just a kind of a fun tetra. So I brought home a group of them because I have some super red severums in there, some juveniles growing out. I also have one that I'm super excited about. It's the mouth brooding severum, or the red eye severum that they've done. Got 6 of them in there, 2 more, we'll say like teenagers, 4 that are a little more sub-juvenile kind of area, but they're growing out. So, and then I got a geophagus in there and a couple plecos in there. So I turned it into a nice severum community tank that I'm really excited about. So if anybody is interested in these super red severums I have in there, I have 4 in there. 1, 2, 3. I have 3 or 4 in there right now. Those are for sale. So if you're interested in the super red severums, those are for sale. They're not, I would say they're max 2 inches right now, lengthwise, maybe a little bigger. They're eating really well. So they're not showing their true coloration yet. They're beautiful fish and they're healthy. So if you're interested in those, let me know. I can ship them out to you. They say they are for sale through the waterfront. I just have them on loan to me right now. All the other fish in there, though, have kind of turned into personal fish kind of a thing. So the other one, like I say, if you're interested in some flametail tetras, I can ship those out. Those are were given to me on loan to me from the waterfront, kind of those things of like, I don't need them here. And they've been an awesome dither fish for the severums. Ever since I put those in, the severums are much more active in there. But the red eye severums and the geophagus, all that kind of are now personal fish to me, the things I want to work with there. But yeah, the 90's looking awesome. We had a little bit of a bacterial infection going on with one of the severums. They're looking a little funky. So I did like a 2 week and a half treatment of just salt in that tank. I took all the sword plants out and just dosed. Like it's, if you've seen Corey's video where his 800 gallon with the goldfish got ick and he was treating it with salt, it was like terrifying putting in that much salt into my 90 gallon tank. Following his recommendations, what was like 1 tablespoon per gallon of water or something. So like in comparative, it was a lot less salt than his 800 gallon, but it's still like terrifying adding that much salt to the tank. But it cleared up. Fish are looking even better now. They're eating well. So yeah, the 90 gallon is just, it gets kind of hard to see because of the lens I'm using, but man, that tank is gorgeous. I definitely need to do an updated video of all that because that tank is absolutely gorgeous there. Really do enjoy it. Yeah, so do this. Savannah, you should be able to drop that link now. So Crown Tail Savannah's right. If you just go onto YouTube and look and just Bulk Reef Supply, find their channel, go into their channel, go underneath their playlist, they're gonna have an entire thing of UV sterilization, all of that. So definitely, it's very simple to find. But Savannah, you should be a moderator now. So if you want to, you can link that in there again. You've done an awesome job for me here, being in the chat and a great supporter to me. So trying to give you some power. Skeepity skeep skeep. Yes, 90 gallon update video. I need to. I definitely need to, because it's this. I mean, you can't see ground level from the camera. In this corner, it's a freaking disaster of just products, things I've collected I need to find homes for. I'm slowly cleaning up this room. In this corner, it's all my camera gear strewn around of, lighting. Well, lighting's on. I got 3 lights on me. I got my camera bag of all my lenses, and I got this other like a little shelf system, just cameras, and I got tripod stuff and drone stuff and GoPro stuff. And then it's kind of like in that corner is all the water change stuff for the room. That's my old dehumidifier. But then I hit the 90-gallon. And when I'm working and like live streaming, doing a video, or just working in this room, that 90-gallon is so calming. It's so calming. It is awesome. It's just how it's so calming. Tucker update. I need to do like a good Tucker video, don't I? Tucker update is that dog loves the snow. He's very happy it snowed. So he is very excited I have that. So Tucker's good. He's still a fat roly-poly. We've actually got him on a diet, so he should be doing a little better. He's lost a little bit of weight. But yeah, I love me some Tucker too. That dog is so much fun to play with. I think he was in one of the last member videos I did where the 90-gallon, he was in. I brought some new fish home, and he was nuzzling the bag so hard he actually like rolled the bag across the room, kind of a thing. But yeah, that dog is still my absolute partner in crime when it comes to anything fish related. If I'm down working on the fish room, he'll lay down right in the doorway and will not move until I'm done. So yeah, he's definitely around there. I wonder if maybe we'll see if we can't do a good Tucker live stream here. We bring him up here, but you can feed Tucker green beans to help lose weight. That dog is, I think he'll eat anything. Let's say there's only like one or two things he's like never eaten in his life, but we got him on a new dog food. It's just a good, it's helping with his weight. We've noticed a better increase. Me and him both need to start running again. I used to take him out running all the time, and then we just got so busy and excuses happen and things happen. But my little dog loves to sit in my lap and watch Rasbora fry in the bottom of the big tank. The fun thing about that at Savannah is that Tucker thinks he's a little dog. So he'll come jump up on you. That's a 60-pound dog jumping in your lap, but he's sure as a fun dog. So yeah, Blake, I'll definitely see what we can't do there at that one to get you some Tucker update. It's actually been a minute since he's appeared in a good video. We'll see what we can do for you on that one. So we're editing out a video for Friday, so I think we could put something together. But everybody, we are crossing over that hour threshold. I think we had like over 20 people consecutively watching this stream at one point. But again, I really do appreciate all of you coming in and supporting me on this adventure, this channel. I look forward to it. I look forward to talking with all of you. I look forward to the updates from everybody and just the absolute support there. Skippity skeep, non-fish related, but would you rather go skydiving or bungee jumping? Skydiving, 100%. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but skydiving is on my bucket list. When I was 15, I actually had the opportunity to bungee jump. Like, I watched my brothers bungee jump while I sat there. I refused to bungee jump. Part of it is, and I know this can be really weird, in my mind, when I'm standing on the bungee jump platform, I can see where I'm going to die. When I'm skydiving, I'm so high up that I can't pick. All I see is like, oh, that's just Earth. Or bungee jumping, you're like, nope. I can specifically tell what that is and where I'm going to die. Where skydiving, it's so high up that I'm not going to necessarily like see where I'm going to die. But I want the rush of jumping out of a plane and, just the wind, so it's going to happen. I'm definitely going to go skydiving, maybe for my 30th. We'll see. We'll see how much weight I can lose before then. But all right, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you so much again for the mug orders that this came through. That's going to make my wife very happy very happy for everything you've done for us. I will definitely try and get those shipped out maybe tomorrow. We'll try. If not, it's going to be it's going to be a busy week. I will get them shipped out as soon as possible. So I will try and get you some tracking information on everybody to order mugs. But yeah, thank you so much again for everybody, the moderators and the super chats, guys. You're the best. But we will talk to you all on the next video. It should be Friday. It's going to be a good one. In the meantime, everybody stay safe. Keep your tanks well. Just have a good time with your tanks. Keep your tanks well done. And we'll see you guys all next time. Love you all and good night.